All right, y'all, what is happening? Welcome back to another tasty episode of Foodies and Friends on Fox 26 and Fox Local. Y'all know you can watch all Foodies and Friends episodes on the Fox Local app. You can just, grab a beer, grab a margarita, and sit down on the couch and catch up on all of the tasty action around Houston. Today, we are at a very, very special place in Houston. Molina's Cantina. This is the oldest family-owned Tex-Mex restaurant in Houston. Y'all, this is Ricardo Molina. We are looking at a legend. Your dad, your grandpa, y'all have been making this food for how many years now?
80, 83, 84.
Oh my gosh.
84,
that's amazing.
Since 1941.
1941. Opened the very first, and it wasn't Molina's Cantina. What was the name of the restaurant?
When they started, it was Mexico City Restaurant, and the history is a little kind of confusing, but at the time, Mama and Papa lived upstairs, and they had the restaurant downstairs, and then it just over the years it evolved.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it became Molina's Mexico City Restaurant. I think that was in the 50s when my dad and uncle got out of the service. They found out that Papa, our grandfather, and Mama and Papa, she was an integral part, made them partners. And it went on that way for quite some time. And in 1977, Mama and Papa wanted to retire. And Uncle George, Dad's younger brother, really, it was not his dream to be in the restaurant business. And so our parents, Mom and Dad, bought them out. And then we did Molina's Mexico City Restaurants for years and years. And then we wanted to push the bars. It was Molina's Mexico City Restaurant Cantina. And then it became too wordy. So we became Molina's Cantina.
I got to show you guys. And I feel bad about touching this, but there's a few menus that Ricardo brought out. These are the original menus from your family's restaurants. Not a whole lot of these copies exist, I imagine. But look at these prices, y'all. Chicken sandwich for 45 cents. Enchilada dishes, $1.60. A lot has changed.
A lot has changed. And, the way it used to be, and it is on somewhere on these, that it came with a coffee or tea, coffee or iced or hot tea even. And it came with toasted tortilla chips or soft corn tortillas. Mm-hmm. That was kind of an option. So I don't know when it happened that it's a God-given right that everybody gets chips. Chips and salsa. And I know some places.
But we love our chips and salsa, and they're so good here.
I know some places have tried to charge for baskets of chips, and
doesn't work.
I'm not touching
We're used to the free chips. Speaking of chips, we've got something to show you that is very warm and tasty on the Foodie Cam here at Molina's. We're right here on Westheimer. Let's go on over to the Foodie Cam because these things do not have a very long life to live. If I have anything to say about it. All right, Ricardo, what are we looking at here?
These are the Nancy Ames nachos. They're the loaded nachos. We make ours individually on a round corn chip. Dad at some point had a tortilla company in town, I think in the late 70s, start making these small round ones. They weren't around till then. Other than that, we've just picked through the chips, the triangle chips, and find the ones that
were small enough
that fit the pattern we needed and all that. And then we just had deluxe nachos. And Dad went on Miss Nancy Ames, who is doing great, alive and well in Houston, Texas. She had a variety show, and Dad went on there, and he was making the nachos the way we made them. Mm-hmm. And then she says, well, this is the way I like them. She grabbed a bunch of stuff and threw it on there. She said, that's the way I like them. So a lot of people saw that. They started ordering them. We put them on the menu, and the rest is history. The only thing we don't put on here that she did was diced onions.
Diced onions. I mean, this is the way I like my nachos too. So this is not changed very much since back in the day. This is one of the original, one of the OG dishes here at Molina's. But this is the right way to do it, I think. It's almost like a salad. You can eat it with a fork, right?
Sure.
But am I hearing this correctly, that round nacho tortilla chips didn't exist before
before, yeah, we
because
started
that's
getting
the
them done.
thing now. Like you can go to Kroger and HEB and buy some round tortilla chips, but it sounds like y'all were needing the round tortilla chips before they were a thing because you needed
Yes.
them to fit on the plate.
My understanding was Dad's idea, and he had to reach out and have someone make them.
Custom make your tortilla chips. Listen, if there's a place you can get custom made tortilla chips, it's Houston, Texas, my friend.
It is now. But I tell you, a lot of times product was brought in from San Antonio.
Oh, why San Antonio?
That was Santa, closer to Mexico. It's a big Hispanic Mexican community.
So they had a lot of authentic and a lot of variety.
Before it became a huge in Houston, San Antonio was the gateway for a lot of items.
San Antonio is the OG culinary gateway here in Texas. That's awesome. Now, you mentioned, before we take a look at another food item, we've got so much history to discuss, y'all. Your dad is still here. He's still with us. He's
Dad's still with us. He's still kicking. He's 96. January, he turned 96. He plays 9 holes of golf every Wednesday.
Good for him.
He lives out on he's got about 250 acres, and he gets out and about and does his thing. And I tell you, if I would have invited him, he would have showed up.
we wouldn't want to invade his precious golf time. Goodness knows he's worked long and hard.
Yes, he did.
To deserve those 9 holes every Wednesday. All right, let's go back over to the foodie cam. We'll take another look at some of the historic dishes here at Molina's Cantina. 3 locations in the Houston area. We're right here on the infamous Westheimer location. Looks like something hot and steamy. What are we looking at, Ricardo?
That's the original chili con carne that we still make with fresh ground chuck, and we make our own. Our own dried chilies that we make, and we don't use a chili powder or anything. It's difficult really to find ground chuck. A lot of people got out of the grind business, and we sourced that. We got the chili ancho. She's got some over here.
I see some chili ancho. Yeah. Ooh, what is this? Ooh, wow.
So that's the sun-dried.
Oh my goodness.
Sun-dried poblano.
Oh wow.
Chili ancho. You have to open it up, get all the seeds out, clean it up, soak them in hot water for an hour or so, and they'll get real meaty again. Then we use a meat grinder, and we just grind it up and make we call it chili paste.
Yeah.
It just really gives it a unique flavor.
Making it in-house. Now, is this a process, or I guess tell me about a process that has stayed true here at Molina's? Is this maybe? Yeah, I was thinking.
This is one of them. Buying 10 pounds of chili powder is 100% easier, but you just don't get the same flavor and all that. So
I love it. And so this is something that if we were here 40 years ago, we'd still be eating the same bowl.
That would be it.
This would be it.
That would be it.
Now, do you ever talk to your dad about the restaurant? Does he ever ask you, how are things going, son? I spent my life building and working in that restaurant.
I grew up working for Dad. I started washing dishes, worked side by side with him for many, many years. When he comes to town, he lives in Anderson, just north of Navasota, and he'll come to town, spend the weekend. And when he does, I take him to the restaurants. Yeah. And he comes in, and I promise, if he walks in the front door and he's standing there and a guest comes in and nobody's greeting him,
right in, he's on.
He's like, somebody needs to take care of this.
Yeah.
person.
Or he takes care of him probably too. I mean, it's probably not a odd sight to see.
He certainly will. And I'll tell you, it's fun when he comes to this store, for sure, Westheimer and Bel Air. He'll walk in and he'll see guests that he's known forever. And it's really, he has a great time, great time doing that. He's always said when he retired, he says, I would take a job. I don't really want to run a restaurant anymore. He said, but I'll manage your dining room.
Just to be social.
Oh, yeah.
Well, but that's, I think this is a really important point, and that is the deep-rooted hospitality that he was, brought up with, that he grew up with, that he raised you with. And that is a very difficult part as a restaurant owner, right? Like a lot of people think, oh, your food has to be great. Your restaurant has to be great. Your servers have to be great. but the hospitality is truly the culture, the flavor of the family, of the building, of the restaurant. And that's something that you guys are clearly very good at.
It takes a lot of work because younger folks, and I'm not saying I'm an old fogey, but younger folks coming up, they weren't raised with a lot of table service. That's kind of, it's become a lot more casual, as you know.
Counter service, casual, drive through.
The whole thing. Yeah, I tell people that if you remember when you ordered an iced tea, you've got a glass of tea, you got a coffee saucer, mm-hmm. the tea glass sat on it, and you got a slice of lemon on the side, and you got a teaspoon laying sitting next to it. Mm-hmm. And it kind of evolved, and now that certainly the plate's gone away. Now you hang the lemon on the side. Some places just throw it in there. You get to dig it out with your fingers. But those kind of things.
All in the need of speed and efficiency and more diners, more customers, because our world has changed.
It changed a lot.
All right, we're going to talk a lot more about that because this is restaurant royalty here in Houston. Let's go right on back to the Foodie Cam here at Molina's on Westheimer. All right, baby, we are getting busy. What are we looking at, Ricardo?
These are black bean and roasted corn empanadas, and we put them on there because it's a vegetarian item, number one, and it's relatively new. It's probably 10, 15 years. So for us, that's kind of a new deal, become very, very popular. So we thought we'd highlight it here. We have another version that has spinach and shrimp. Those are the two options.
So a few things are changing. Spinach and shrimp. A few things are changing here at Molina's, but you mentioned, you are adjusting because customers like things, and y'all listen when your customers tell you that you like things. All right, I'm going up spinach and shrimp. Oh, here we go. Oh my goodness. That is a lot. And you know what? It's soft and it's flaky and it's crusty, y'all. This is the empanada that's wet. Let's go. No, I love the soft and the flaky, the croissanty empanadas because I love the fried ones too, but sometimes they're too thick, too fried, and I don't want to fill up on fried dough before I get to the good stuff, right?
That's right.
All right, I'm taking a bite. I got to take a bite. There we go. Oh my goodness.
It's interesting you say that we try to change, and we do add items and always have. But when you get people, a regular customer's we've got a customer who's been eating with us for 83 years. And when a lot of times they come in.
Ricardo.
Yes. I saw him yesterday. And
that's got to be a record. I don't know any restaurant in Houston. Y'all should send a press release out about that. I mean, that is oldest, longest running consistent diner in Houston.
He came in a carrier when his parents brought him in. He knew our grandparents well. And he's 80. I think he said he was 85 now. So it's something.
Oh my goodness. He was here in a baby carrier. This was maybe one of his very first restaurants he ever went to.
The restaurant on Main. Yes,
on Main.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
Great guy.
How old is he now?
He's like 85.
In his 80s. Okay. Yeah. And what about his kids? Do they know about this? Do they come in?
Oh, sure. You bet.
That's so special. I mean, talking about like we mentioned, the need to adjust and the need to move. It's a struggle, like you said, because food service these days has changed and everybody's lives are busy. A lot of us are running around trying to get the quickest, what is the easiest app? How can I order the fastest? How can I order delivery? But at the end of the day, dining out is still an experience. And it's still something you want people to enjoy when they come into your home.
It is. It's entertainment. People want to get out of the house and not just, have to go home and unpack it and then clean it up. We take care of everything. Yeah. And, with the introduction of the alcoholic beverages way back in the day, that was just revolutionary for the industry in Texas as a whole.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. We'll hold off on the Foodie Cam for a second. We'll talk about the margaritas. So tell me a little bit about the Molina's margarita story, because that's interesting.
Well, it was early 70s. You could have a private club license, which we did not have. We had beer and wine. And so you had, I think it was Budweiser, maybe Schlitz, and then you had Carta Blanco, Bohemia. You had a few of the Mexican beers that were around. And then, of course, some wine. Well, when they got liquor by the drink that you could get a license and sell it like it is now, we started making margaritas, and it was on the rocks. And then Dad heard about somebody where it was this Dallas that had a frozen margarita machine, and he got one as soon as he could. He
probably one of the first in Houston.
One of the first.
Yeah.
Here's to Rosemary Garbett. God bless her.
Shout out to Rosemary.
She claims to be the number one, and I'll give that to her. But we were 5 minutes
later on. Yeah, there you go. That's all right.
And that absolutely, to me, that changed things. That was in the 70s, and that's when you also had two parents started working in the house, and people would start to go out to eat a lot more, and it really changed the business. Changed the
game. Well, I mean, I would say that the automatic margarita machine was a game changer for the restaurant industry, and your dad or your grandpa, they were responsible for helping to usher in the new era.
Yeah, and we started making it. The recipes, basically what you'll find on the back of a lot of tequila bottles. It says 2 parts tequila, 1 part triple sec, and 1 part lime juice. And that's basically what we do. And it's very potent. And people will say, the margarita's too small, but you can't have a 24 ounce, half a bottle of tequila.
You want them to go home at the end of the meal, right? Like you do want them to go home. Your parking lot is big, but not that big. So, all right, let's go back over to the foodie cam. We've got a couple of dishes that are very, very tasty. I can smell them from here. Oh my goodness. Ricardo, what are we looking at?
Cheese enchiladas is still one of our top sellers. One's cheese enchiladas, the other's the same thing with a fried egg on top.
I love that you're showing the fried egg because that's a traditional little variant of the dish. Yeah.
That's the way to go. And we make ours, of course, beef-based gravy in-house. We still boil beef bones to make our base. We don't buy a beef base. Back in the day when you had a lot of butcher shops around, you could get bones a lot easier before they started doing what they call box beef, where it's just you buy a whole box of, briskets or roast or whatever. They would get a hind quarter, the butchers would, and cut it and, break it down themselves. And we had bones. And over the years, it became an item you had to buy, and then it became harder and harder to find. We'll go through periods where they beef bones, they'll send us the boats, where they're cut in half to make, cook the marrow and whatnot. We like, no, we need the part with the knuckle and stuff in it. So
the tasty stuff,
the good stuff.
Yeah. But I wonder, that's interesting. It's a really interesting progression in the industry. And I love talking about this. That's an additional struggle for you, right? Because you've created a menu, you've created a culture of flavor around a particular process. But then as we all, as the world moves on, as the world turns, it's probably more regulations that was governing those used bones. Like they're allowed to give it to you one day, they're not allowed to give them to you the next. And so you've got to purchase it. And then maybe the butcher shops are moving out of town because the real estate's getting too expensive and old school butcher shops don't exist.
Not much.
It's tough.
It is tough. And as you mentioned, the health regulations, God bless the health department. They do a great job, but there's regulations out there.
All right. This is the way to have your cheese enchiladas. So if you come into Molina's and you ask for cheese enchiladas with the egg on the top, they'll know that you watched Foodies and Friends on Fox 26, right?
That's right. And
or they'll just know good food.
You can order this with the chili on top as well. That's Tejas enchiladas. We used to, many years ago, put onions. That was traditional to have onions on the enchiladas.
I like that. Yeah. Why? Why'd they go away?
Because a lot of people didn't like it. And once you put it on there, and then if they don't like it, it's done. So it's on request.
On request. So yeah.
It's just.
But maybe there should be a little asterisk in the menu. The OG version. If you want to go the old school version, we recommend onions. But I think it's a lot of lunch diners too, maybe, and the lunch game has gotten so much more popular in the last several decades. They don't want to go back to work smelling like onion breath. I don't know. Maybe that's it too. All right, foodie cam time. Look at what we are looking at here. Ricardo, what do we have?
That's Rosita's Pollo Poblano, named after my sister Rosanna.
Shout out to Rosanna.
This. Yeah, Rosanna.
Love that.
Way to go, Rose. And it's a grilled chicken breast, marinated grilled chicken breast, and it's got sauteed onions, poblano peppers, and Chihuahua cheese melted on top. And that's a good tasty
One of their
item there.
classic dishes.
It's just
Pretty classic.
30,
Yep.
35 years,
Right.
you know, put it in perspective.
Pretty old dish, Ricardo.
Yes.
It's been around for most of our kids' lives at this point, right? Now, what about the next generation of Molinas? Is there anyone coming up anyone on deck? What's the plan?
People ask. I'm not sure. I've got two beautiful daughters who are in college right now, Graciela and Adriana. I love y'all.
Hi, Graciela. Hi.
And so they're getting through school. I don't know what the future holds right at this moment.
Yeah.
They do work with us. They have all work with us.
Let's go back to the foodie cam. We've got another couple dishes to show you here at Molina's on Westheimer and some other fun stories to chat about. What are we looking at?
That is a William special. William Lyons was a cook, kitchen manager with the family for as long as I could remember. A lot of these people growing up and going to work with Dad, you know, I really didn't know if they were family. I thought maybe they were family, but they were always there.
Oh, so they weren't like a quote unquote cousin or a quote unquote uncle, but you saw them so much.
Yes, that's right.
That they were kind of like family.
That's exactly. And Dad wanted something to eat one day and couldn't decide what he wanted to eat. And he told William, make me something. And William came up with this. It's 2 cheese enchiladas, a piece of fajita meat, rice. I think there's beans on there. William sauce, which is a gravy he made up on the fly right then. And it's one of our top sellers. It's big though. It's a big plate.
It is a big dish. I can see it.
It's a lot of food.
And you know, I really can't help but keep coming back to this innate understanding of hospitality and service. And, you know, you mentioned something that you have a lot of people that are working here. They've been working here for a very long time.
Yes, we do.
And you mentioned how you came up with your dad washing dishes right next to him, watching him run the show, your daughters. You know, if I was a aspiring restaurateur, or even if I was a new restaurateur in Houston, what I would do, and this is just me, I would make a list of all of these kind of legacy restaurants here in Houston who have been through these decades of change. They've seen all of the incredible shifts in the industry. And I would attend. I would dine out at every single one of these restaurants. And I would look through the menus and I would ask questions about the history of these dishes. Because literally every line of your menu, there's a story.
That's like, I need to go out and eat some more.
But you see what I mean is that there's no, you know, agency in San Francisco, you know, doing an AI kind of search and coming up with the best definition. It's coming from the heart and the history. All right, what are we looking at here, Ricardo?
That is a combination plate. It's a Mexico City dinner that's been on the menu since day one. It's got your hot plate. It's got your cold plate, the taco, tostada, guacamole, chili con queso. You got a cheese enchilada, tamale with chili, rice and beans, another big plate.
Huge.
Big plate.
Huge. And very much in line with what I grew up knowing as the Molina's flavor is generosity and your home. This is a huge restaurant. What about happy hour? Y'all have any happy hours?
We have happy hour 2 to 7 every day, Monday through Friday.
All right. Monday through Friday, happy hour, great parking, no valet. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Make sure you come on out to Molina's. They've got 3 locations around Houston. Who knows? You might even see this guy. Ask him a question. He is a wealth of Houston history, knowledge in the restaurant industry. And you knew my mama too, didn't you?
Yes, she was a doll.
Aw.
She was kind of a crazy doll, but
she was a crazy doll. All right, you guys, that does it for us at Molina's. I've got some margaritas to drink, some enchiladas to eat. We will see you guys next time on another episode of Foodies and Friends on Fox Local.
Thank you.